Now call on George Adam to be followed by Cara Hilton.
Thank you, Presiding Officer, and also thank Kenneth Gibson for bringing this debate to the Chamber today. I know from his work in the CPG and epilepsy how involved he is in the actual helping people with this condition, and also interested in the fact that it's 54,000 people in Scotland that have the condition, and I think it's something that was brought up. It's like a condition when I think you were here, Presiding Officer, before when we talked about multiple sclerosis in Scotland. There was 100,000 people, so it just shows you it's another neurological condition that people in Scotland obviously have issues with as well. But one of the things that Mr Gibson brought up was the stigma that is attached to it, and many young people seem to have an issue with it. I know for a fact that my own niece has epilepsy, and she never used to talk about it to such an extent that she didn't want anyone else to know about it. Very similar to some of the findings that Quarriers brought up in their survey, was that young people actually felt as if they were actually treated differently by people within education or anywhere else because of if they mentioned that they had epilepsy. And I think that's where, when Mr Gibson talks about the training for in health and safety or first aid training for teachers, it may be something that the authorities, the 32 authorities, should have a look at, because we can't have this kind of patchwork ideal of being able to, well, in some of the cases, as Mr Gibson mentioned, the fact that, you know, there was only one authority, I think it said, that actually did have that training and offer. And I think these are one of the things, because can you imagine the panic in a classroom situation if a teacher, if something like that happens and the teacher's unable to do anything about it? You know, apart from anything, I think it would probably be down to local authorities to ensure that their member of staff had that ability to help that young person should in that situation. But one of the things that was mentioned earlier on was the fact that Quarriers, obviously based in Bridge of Weir, not in my constituency, Presiding Officer, but next door, my colleagues Derek Mackay's, but their actual Scottish Epilepsy Centre, a £6.4 million centre that's in Glasgow, and it's obviously there to help families that are dealing with this condition on a long-term basis. And I think, as I've said in other debates, it's not just about the actual support and everything else. It's about making sure that they can feel better about it. Just being able to talk to someone a lot of the time can make quite a big difference when you're dealing with something like this. Because I'm concerned. I'm also thinking about my own, well, she's now in her 20s, but my own niece. She actually was going to, at one point, try to lie to the DVLA about her licence so that she could get a driving licence because she had epilepsy, and there was obviously a problem with that. And she was informed in no certain terms that she wasn't going to do that. But, you know, it just shows you the lengths that young people will go to actually hide this kind of thing. But one of the things the Curriculum for Excellence offers is, Presiding Officer, is an opportunity to overcome that stigma. You know, the whole point of the Curriculum for Excellence is to for young people to be able to get involved and explore different parts of the curriculum and come to the conclusions themselves. And I think the pack that was talked about with the Stamp Out Stigma campaign and working within the GLOW system with the available for teachers, it gives them the opportunity to access that information, and it ensures that they can actually be able to teach it and give young people, move them away from the ignorance of not knowing exactly what they're dealing with here. And I think that's one of the things we have to get over, is to make sure when we're dealing with just about anything, is to make sure that young people are fully informed. In some cases, nowadays, we actually find that, I know for a fact, a lot of young people we interact with are probably a lot better informed in a lot of these issues than a lot of us are. But I think it's quite important that we've got that available in the Curriculum of Excellence, and it gives the teachers in education the opportunity to do this. So just in closing, Presiding Officer, I'd like to thank Kenneth Gibson again, I can't get used to using his Sunday name, for bringing this to the Chamber, and I support him, and I will continue to support him in all of his campaigns to stamp out the stigma with regards to epilepsy in Scotland.
Very good, many thanks.